right, let's test if that
My
worked.
screen?
Your screen's fine. Just gotta pull.
Okay.
There we go. Okay, so we're on. We'll go. Actually, let's go to the last link, so that way we can talk about it, because that would
The
be
last link. Let me make sure we're on the right deck and we're going up or down.
top down.
I got Blackwings.
Yeah, with the side being Glads.
Yes, I got that one. So
Okay.
we'll go up from there. Got it.
Yep. All right. Let's see. Let's see if stream is working right now. So I believe stream started. Just need to make sure everything's showing up on my side. Oh yeah, it's playing right now. All right. So, what's up, guys? My name is David. You guys know me, Asian with Cards, and then we also have my friend Jay Snyder from Underground Games.
What's up, everybody?
Let's see if they can actually hear us. Oh yeah, it's playing right now. All right, so it's barely hearing you. I guess I need to turn it up. You guys know me, Asian with Cards, and then we also have my friend Jay Snyder from Underground Games. Okay, so I need to turn this down. Go back to turn this up. I guess I got to run a headset because there's a feedback from Discord.
Oh, I'm trying to remember how I got rid of that because we had that same problem with Brad.
No, I know what to do about that.
It's just I can do it quickly.
It's
because of how much technical BS I've had to deal with.
Okay,
so it should be good.
All
right, so someone says something, they'll let us know. Okay, so we're talking about Glads here. Make sure that the mic is working right now, just to make sure. Is the mic working? I think the mic's working, just to make sure.
Is it?
Yeah,
it's working. Okay, we're good. Okay. Now that my OCD's over. Okay, so we want to talk about our top 8 players from the tournament. Jay, you have a lot more perspective since you expected the tournament.
Yes. It was some very interesting choices in the top 8.
Right. A lot of decks. We had some Machina decks, some Machina Frog decks. It's a lot of diversity that I'm glad to see in Edison format, regardless of our player count. Any thoughts on your side for diversity in the tournament?
I would definitely say we saw some innovation today. I would definitely, not today, but on the day. I would definitely also say that we did not see a whole lot of innovation in the main event. I don't know if that was something that was a lot of people noticed, but we did try and get a diversity on stream, but it did seem to be quite a few Blackwing players and quite a few Val Turbo players at the event. So the conversion rate on those decks was honestly not as good as I would have thought it would have been due to the amount of players that we had that were playing them. They definitely were not as dominant as I expected.
Right.
So I would also mention we also had a twisted Blackwing deck that got in, and that's what we're showing off right now. And let's start off with that one. But we had a Blackwing deck with a twist that has a smokescreen of Glads, and so that's my buddy Andrew. And do you have any perspective on Andrew's side?
Yeah, I actually I talked about this deck quite a bit when we watched it the couple times we did on stream. At first, I was definitely a non-believer, specifically because it went from one deck that has to normal summon an attack to another deck that has to normal summon attack, and it didn't really seem to converge as a necessary evil. But then as I was watching it, obviously he made the choice to play 2 Equests, 1 Bestiari, so that his Icarus attacks kind of still had live play. Obviously War Chariot's a very, very good card. The only thing I would say for him in the future going forward is I would hope he if he's going to deck swap into the GBs, maybe start with a deck that's not as necessarily dependent on normal summon attack. Maybe start with Val Turbo, and then you can swap into the GB package. I think that would have been quite a bit more impactful. But on the day, he was definitely doing well. He was just a very good player on the day.
Yeah.
And he made some decisions that helped him get to top 8.
Right. So some other things to mention on the deck. The things that he would side out in the deck. He would side out the whole Blackwing package aside from like one Shura, one Gale, and then I think 2 Siroccos. And then he would swap out 1, 2, 3, 4. No, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I guess 15 would be one of the Sirocco or one of the Cyber Dragons. And then from there, everything else pretty much mashes up with Glads over here. Just because you have the Compulse, you have the Trap Stun, and even the Starlight Road. Legacy of Yada is just, it is what it is, but the Smashing Ground is, of course, going to help converge on some stuff. But congrats to Andrew on making top 8 on that, especially with a different style of a Blackwing deck with a twist. I give him the props where it's due, because he was walking in thinking that he's going to try and play fairies, and once he actually started seeing me play Glads against his deck, he was like, this is an unwinnable matchup if he ever saw it. And he was trying to make sure that he was not going to lose as often as possible. Crazy enough, I want to say his matchups was he went undefeated in 4 rounds, and then by 5th and 6th round, everything started showing, because everyone started seeing his plays, especially on stream, with all the Glads over here. It started working against him in his favor.
Yeah, it definitely did. I think he still ended 5-1, because he had a real close match there at the end where he won and got into the top. And I believe we actually watched that match as well on stream. I think it was round 5 or round 6.
Right. Okay, so moving on, let's talk about, I believe this is Gabriel Jesus' deck. This is Blackwings, if I recall correctly. And that's the 41 card Blackwing deck with 3 Legacy of Yada Garasus. Kind of a twist. Although, to be fair, in my side, in my defense, I think that 41 card Blackwings is okay. And then the fact that he's running 3 dimensional prisons is also an interesting twist. Running 3 Legacy Yadas is actually kind of a new meta going on right now. What's your thoughts, Jay?
So I am against the 41 if you're just going to play the 3rd draw card. I would just play 40 and play the 2 draw cards. That's just me personally. I feel like if he was going to play the 3rd draw card, he could have dropped either his main board Dust Tornado into the side or the main board Oppression into the side, just depending on what kind of meta he expected to see. However, Legacy is the new meta right now. It's the draw trap meta right now. Everybody's implemented it over from GOAT format, trying to catch those heavy storms and stuff off guard.
Right.
I do feel like in the earlier matches where you're playing against people that may not be as experienced with Edison, they are a lot better because they force people to play around them. But when you get to the higher tables, I don't feel like they're as powerful. I don't feel like you're going to catch as many people not pushing for game. And that's one thing that's really important in Edison is if my monster is summoned and you don't have it, I'm going to go for it. This format is way too fast to not try and go for it, in my opinion. So some of the more top players will probably see game and smell blood in the water very early if that Legacy sat there for a turn or 2. So it kind of does lose a little bit of its power. But yeah, that's the only thing I would change on this list is I would definitely go down 1 Legacy and just make it an even 40. I do like the main board Dust Tornado. I especially like main board Dust Tornado in decks that play cards that you would be open to activating on your turn, such as an Icarus attack, something along like a return from the different dimension as well. So I do like that aspect. But really, for his deck, what interests me the most is in the side, and I feel like he brought in this Dark Illusion all the time because we saw that card on stream get he was either banished or hit by something, and we didn't know what it was. And the Dark Illusion definitely, I feel like he probably brought it in all the time. Very very interesting that he was only siding the 1 deck dev. Also very interesting to side into Trap Stun, where a deck that pops back row is playing traps. So your Icarus attack popping back row being turned off by Trap Stun. Very interesting that he decided to make that decision. But again, it did work for him. He played the one Dyna. That's also definitely an interesting call. I guess he decided he was going to lean more into the DD Crows for some of those matchups that Dyna would normally come in against as well.
Absolutely. One thing I'll definitely say to the Dark Illusion, I actually was trying to get my friend who plays Blackwings and is finally trying to retire off Blackwings after being buried with Blackwings as a training. And I got him on the idea of Dark Illusion and it's been saving his ass and he would main deck it. Give me one second.
Yeah, I mean
Go ahead.
The Dark Monster doesn't have to be the only card targeted, it just has to be one of the cards targeted. So the fact that this card in the mirror match can just kind of be a blowout card by stopping the Icarus attacks as long as they target at least one of his monsters. It kind of fills a role that a card like My Body might fill, but also it stops D-Prisons, which is very big in the meta right now.
Absolutely. So another one that I'd also mention is like... I'm glad we're starting to see skill drain in the meta again with Blackwings. I haven't really seen it as often. And so I'm just kind of glad that we're starting to see some resurgence on skill drain right now. Some people are starting to like fade away from it, and people were starting to use light imprisoning. And now people are starting to use skill drain over like pulling the rug because skill drain was starting to blow out like a lot of the frog matchups because Caius, Substitute were actually a necessity, or saying so Swap Frog. Skill Drain was actually helping slow down a lot of the frog matchups right now.
Yes, definitely. And there is still, like, Skill Drain plus Stardust is still one of the best things you can do in Edison. And Blackwings make Stardust very, very easy. So I definitely agree with that.
Okay. So moving on, let's check out this one. This is Val Turbo, I believe. Yep, Val Turbo. And Jay, if you can recall, do we have any additional Val Turbo decks, or is it just two?
I believe we just have the two. I believe we just have this one, and then we had the one that got second.
Okay. Just verifying right now. Let's see. Checking the sides. There's two Fossil Dinos. Okay, so this one's going to be William Choi's deck list.
No, I apologize. We had three.
Oh, there's three. There's three. Okay, so this is William Choi's. There's three, and okay. Well, we'll circle back about that. I think I only caught two over here as of right now, but. So on William Choi's right now, this is his Val Turbo list, and he actually went X1 from what I recall.
And it may be two.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I duped it. Yeah, okay, it is two.
Yep.
Okay, so this is William Choi's list. I remember taking a peek at this list. Definitely very interesting on his sideboard.
Yes.
He very much expected to play against a lot of frog matchups. And you can clearly see that in his sideboard. He did not expect to play a lot of mirror matches. He did not expect to play a lot of regular Blackwings, which, again, on the day, there was a lot of regular Blackwing decks. So his play skill really... Yeah, his play skill really must have shown through.
Yes.
Because from my understanding, based off of what I've seen and tested with, Val Turbo, it does not actually have one of the better Blackwing matchups. It does seem to have a struggle against Blackwing versus some of the other decks in the meta.
Right. So some other things I wanted to mention on here the side. You said the frog for the frog matchup, but you're talking about like saying so Fossil Dyna and Soul Release, and then what else could be in here that could be for the frog matchup?
So depending on what kind of frog matchup, if he's playing against hero frogs, 3 Fossil Dynas, a Soul Release, in my opinion, honestly, a Compulse, a Judgment. You could even consider bringing in a Starlight Road, and then also you have the Oppression, the second Oppression, and you have Deck Dev.
Right.
I mean, so that's 9 of his sideboard slots right there. And a lot of those cards don't, in my opinion, don't really seem to slot into any other real popular matchups right now. It really was just he was definitely afraid of the frog matchup.
Right. Okay. So pretty much on the main deck for values is pretty standard. Would you say so?
Yeah. I mean, this looks like pretty much the same 40. I mean, he's not playing the 41 list that likes to play Reaper that we've seen a few times. I'm a little more fan of that list because depending on what your meta is, if you're planning on seeing like Dragon Turbo, I like Reaper a lot more. and I like having that option. He's also not playing Sengan. I've seen some lists play Sengan too, so kind of more of a streamlined list.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I
do like the idea of the 41 card values is just not often seen, but also at the same time, like deck thing is a thing in Value Turbo, so it does help with consistency, and I don't think that 41 cards is something that you should be afraid of. Any other final thoughts for William Choi?
No, I mean he did really well in the day. I remember talking to him about his list, and he seemed to be pretty knowledgeable on the list. So congratulations to him.
Yep, absolutely. All right, moving on to the next one. This is another Value Turbo deck, and I believe this is our second place Ricky Wynn. And he was, and I want to say he actually had a good undefeated record, or not undefeated, but I think he was our X1 record, if I recall correctly. Do you recall it all? Randy Wynn.
No.
Randy Wynn is his name. Excuse me.
Randy, yeah. So his list looks actually identical to the other list.
Is it? Okay, so
it's almost identical. Did I miss?
Actually,
miss his
okay,
list?
I'm so sorry. We actually have a clerical error over here. We actually have a clerical error. Okay, so it's actually, let's just go through here. So there's actually 3 Greffers in here. We'll have to get that corrected for later, but it's 3 Greffers, 3 Value, 3 Sirocco, 1 Gale, 2 Armageddon, 2 Raikou, 1 Card Trooper. It's so hard, bear in mind, because in a lot of cases, a lot of these Value Turbo decks tend to look the same. So this is actually a clerical error on our side. But Randy Wynn's is, we'll provide that in a link in the description down below, but we'll move on real quickly. But to mention, in the side deck, he had 2 Fossil Dyna, 2 Crow, 1 Minecon, 1 Pull on the Rug, 2 Dust Tornado, 1 Cyber Dragon, 3 Possessed Dark Soul, 1 Master Restriction, 1 Eradicator Epidemic Virus. And then as far as... Go ahead.
Possessed Dark Soul is definitely the new thing that a lot of people have been talking about since RBET New York. That card is pretty much an auto win against Dupe Lock. And I do like the card a lot. I'm not as big of a fan of the card in decks that can't convert the Dupe Frogs. So like for example, I like it a lot better in a hero list that can Miracle Fusion away the Dupe Frogs.
Right.
So I'm more preferential to it in that list. However, just outing the Dupe Lock and then synchroing with the Dupe Frogs and proceeding to just win the game from there. Synchro with Plague on both dupes, make a 6, and then just Value off and win. Is definitely a strategy as well. So.
Right. So apologies for the clerical error, but also in the main, he's also running 2 deck devs. So I'm assuming this guy, Randy Wynn, he is on it mainly because he's trying to beat down a lot of the low attack decks, saying so Value Turbo Mirror, Blackwings, Light Sworns, Quick Draws, and Frogs. Fairy, that's for sure.
Yeah. It definitely covers a lot of, and I might be mistaken, but did you say he didn't play Hamster?
Let me see. I don't think he's playing Hamster. No, he's playing 1 Hamster right now. And then
okay, so he's going heavier into the Greffer Armageddon Knight package so that he can, make those deck devs live earlier. Just sometimes, even if it's a deck that's maybe not as strong to deck dev game 1, just that hand advantage. Same thing with the Trap Dust Shoot argument. Just knowing what's in your opponent's hand, maybe hitting 1 card, but knowing everything that's coming is going to be good enough for you to win the game.
Right. Okay, so let's just move on to, I believe this is Diva Hero Zombie.
This is the list I wanted to talk about.
Okay. So this is with our friend from Austin. Maybe you can actually ring me his names. I want to say it's not Joseph. It's someone else. Is it not Sean?
I thought it was Kylie. Yeah.
No. Is it Sean Kylie?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Sean Kylie.
Sean Kylie. Yep. Sean Kylie's Diva Hero Zombie. So, what's your thoughts? I believe this one is another X1 deck.
Man, let me tell you, when we had this deck on stream and I saw the side deck, I was super excited. So he plays 2 skill drains, 2 decrees, 2 consecrated lights. He plays a forbidden chalice. He plays a zombie world. So just through floodgates, he's playing 7 floodgates if you count the zombie world. And then he also has chalice, which is like one of my, in my opinion, one of the most underplayed cards in Edison.
I would totally agree with that.
Crazy.
Zombie World's really great even in this matchup because if he can actually special summon like from Plague to a level 4 zombie, he can special out Doomkaiser. With Zombie World, it's a dumb situation, and it can actually lead to a lot of crazy situations.
Correct. Yeah, it turns any level 4 into a zombie, so it makes that play a lot more live as well. So you can synchro with any level 4 in Plague. It doesn't have to be a level 4 zombie because of Zombie World. But also, if you'll notice, he played one ofs, like 1 Fossil Dino and 1 Kaiku, because with Zombie World in play, he can actually zombie master those 2 monsters back over and over again as well.
Right.
But the main thing that I very much enjoyed in his side deck, and I'm pretty sure he planned this 100%. He may have fell into it, but it's such a good plan that I really wanted to talk about it. You can decree your own skill drain so that you can pop off and win.
Oh my god, that's so true.
So your opponent cannot stop you from popping off, and your own skill drain is turned off by your decree, so you just go off and win.
You know what this partially reminds me of is I was doing this at Nats, and I went X2, and then in one of my matches I had a hard misplay, but I kept eating a lot of Val Turbo decks, aside from the one that I misplayed on. And the one thing I like comboing is like using Royal Decree along with like Royal Oppression, just because Royal Oppression stays turned on, and then you have a permanent trap stun. Because you can actually like having trap stun, or you can actually like having Decree and then just shutting off your opponent for the rest of the game. Because I've met plenty of opponents that are like trap heavy zombies. Shout out to Beast Mode. He got doned by me in one game, and it was just because he set 5 and I activated Decree and he just couldn't do anything. And he just automatically scooched. But like Decree is a busted card in many decks. You don't just have to play it in zombies, you can also play it in Blackwings, and it's a very odd rarity. Or a very rare oddity to actually see that happen in Blackwings. So I'm glad to see Royal Decree become a thing in like other decks that need swarming to happen, and they're not worried about like having to be super defensive. They're just trying to be kind of like a glass cannon. Would you agree with that perspective?
Yes, and one thing he can also do too is, as I was talking about the Decree shutting off the skill drain shuts off the Consecrated.
Yes.
So that he can pop off under his own Consecrated too.
Yes.
So he had it all covered to where the turn he was ready to go off and win the game, nothing was going to floodgate him. But until then, his floodgates and his defenses were up while his opponent was trying to establish.
So what was his matchup for Consecrated? Was it Blackwings or Value that he was worried about, or that he had to encounter?
So I don't believe he would bring in Consecrated against Value, because if you look at his package, he's got the Dyna, the Kaiku, the Crow, and the Decrees against Value. I don't 100% believe, and he might even sneak in one of these Karma Cuts, depending on if he's going first or second. But I don't believe against Value he would have gone into the Consecrated Lights, because they have too many non-dark monsters to deal with the Consecrated Lights. But he would definitely go into it in the Blackwing matchup. That's 100% true.
Absolutely.
And against the Neuralis matchup, which we saw 2 of on the day.
Oh god, that Neuralis deck. I wish I could actually get a deck of that. Cool. So any other things you want to say about this deck?
No, it's just like it was one of my favorite decks in the top for sure.
Absolutely. All right. Now we're on to one of the other decks. Okay, so this is a Gladiator Beast deck. Pretty typical Glads. Nothing too special here. There's a lot of anti-meta stuff going on over here. 3 Test Tigers, 1 Cat. And then, like I said, pretty standard. My Body's a Shield is an underrated card. I recommend anyone that's trying to play old school run My Body as a Shield. Also, interesting thing is people are trying to play Trap Hole again. Trap Hole is for Blackwings, I believe. Also, a lot of Floodgates, saying so Di-Fi and Master Restrict.
Yeah, so with the deck like this, again, he has the ability to go very heavy. This is actually my friend Julian. He has the ability to go very heavy into the floodgates again. Six floodgates in the sideboard coming out. Enemy controller is a very, very interesting tech card that more and more people I think should adopt into Gladiator Beast. It's kind of like a fourth Book of Moon. But it also gives you some kind of utility if you do need to, take an opponent's monster and do something along those lines. I do also appreciate that he actually filled out his synchro deck with the enemy controller just in case he took a tuner.
Right.
Now, as far as the 2 main board smashing, I like it. I like it a lot. Most people are filling that slot with shrink. And you can't always rely on you having a GB there that's going to allow you to protect yourself with the shrink. So I like just clearing off the threat. The Hoplimus is a big turn 1 play. I think most people expect to attack into Rykos, so they attack into Rykos with smaller monsters like Armageddonites, Troopers, stuff like that. That's not going to hurt them for that being a Ryko there. And Hoplimus just punishes those plays as well. So big fan of the Hoplimus.
Absolutely. And so over here, I think this is pretty typical Glads. Although Hoplimus has been, like you said, is kind of an optional thing, and I think that using Hoplimus is actually an interesting play, especially when he's not even running a Waboku in here. So it's kind of interesting.
It is definitely interesting to not see a Waboku. To see the second Starlight Road with the Gores in the main is also interesting too. I wonder if that had any friction in his tournament run. And then on top of that, a lot of Glad players have been switching over to the E-Autos package. Some of them are siding it in with the Diaphies. Some of them are mainboarding it without playing the Test Tigers, and they're siding out of the E-Autoses and siding into the Test Tigers. So, I mean, it worked for him on the day, and definitely glad to see him top 8 again, because I don't think he's played Yu-Gi-Oh! In quite a long time. So.
Yep, cool. And then we also have, for our first place, we have to also, we can't show this off, but it's for the other one that is a unique deck. We'll probably be talking about it in another time. The other one was actually a Machina Frog deck. Machina Frog's quite interesting. He's also running Spirit Chaos. Pretty common thing that is going on with Machina Frogs, and it's coming from Ryanite. Can't show it off, but once we get the clear from him, respectfully, we'll get it shown off. And the reason why we can't show it off right now is because he's going into RBT and he doesn't want the deck leaked out. So we're just trying to respect his wishes on that one. So for first place is coming from our guy. I believe his name is. Let's double check that.
Mr. Joey Lynch.
Joey Lynch. I'm sure you've heard this guy before. I believe he is a YCS topper.
I actually think he might be a YCS champion. Not 100% sure on that. We've all been playing the game for a very long time, so.
Yeah, let's double check that. Joey Lynch, YCS. He may have won one. I just can't remember. Top 32, second place, top 16,
okay, so
first place OTS.
Second place.
I have to look into this, but he is a guy that can win, and
he's a very accomplished player for sure.
Yes, he's also had a top 16 in a YCS Vegas, so he's definitely been a YCS topper. We can try and circle back and see if he's actually he's actually made a top 4 at YCS Cancun before.
Yeah, I definitely know he's had a lot of success. And I do know that he playtests with multiple YCS champions as well at his locals. So definitely coming into this tournament, there was a lot of competition there. Even with the smaller turnout than expected, it was still quite a bit of competition. Not very many judge calls on the day. Definitely a lot of people knew what they were doing. This was not a casual event.
Unless we have like a very, very unique situation. Like saying so Lad and Black Whirlwind and Blizzard, which is like, what are the odds of that ever happening? It was, and it worked.
It is very rare.
Yeah, and like we had to circle back like 4 different times, and we just, for me as a judge, when I was at the table, I was watching it happen, And since neither of them actually had any issues with the current ruling that they were aware of, I just went with it because they didn't have to call for a judge. And if they called for a judge, we would have been hanging for like 20 minutes trying to deliberate and figure out like how to actually get the judge call. So I'm glad that it worked out. But basically, the ruling situation was actually very seldom for like bad calls. But going on.
No, just calls in general. I didn't hear. I didn't hear too many judge calls. More so of just an explanation of the Edison time rules, which we did run the Edison time rules versus the modern time rules. And it's actually kind of funny to say that running the Edison time rules had us streamline a faster tournament than running the modern time rules, which were made to supposedly make your tournament streamline faster.
Right.
So.
Right. So, circling back, let's talk about the Machina Frogs or Machina Turbo deck that he's running. And one thing that's interesting about his deck is that he's running no Caius, which is quite a twist. He's also
correct. Not even one in the sideboard is very interesting.
Yeah, but the way he's running it, he's also running 3 Pot of Avarice along with his Machina setup. So, congrats to him on trying to make a Machina deck successful without even having Caius. Which what's your thoughts on like saying so running General Machina without gadgets?
I mean, I'm gonna be 100% honest. This deck looks exactly like a modern deck, so I can definitely tell that this player is very experienced in the modern meta right now. Maybe even possibly got some ideas from the other guys that he likes to play test with. If you just look at the deck, it just looks super streamlined. 3-3-3-3-3-3-3-3-3 sideboard. 3-3-2-2-2-2-2. Like it's very, very streamlined, very play all the best cards at the maximum amount that you can play them at, and more times out of not, it's going to work out for you. Right. So
absolutely. So some other unique choices. Instead of running Caius, he also ran Cyber Valley, and some of the things I've been hearing through the grapevine for Joey's choice on it is that he needed more draw engine, which is also why he paired it with Legacy of Yada. So what I'm thinking is that he would go Hamster, Special Summon Raikou, and then get summon the Cyber Valley to actually get the Hamster and Cyber Valley Hamster out of the way from being an attack, and then draw more into his deck.
Yeah, I mean, if your opponent doesn't attack into the face down monster thinking it's a Hamster, you flip it anyway, get the Raikou for follow up, and then you get to summon the Valley, and you get to banish the Hamster and draw 2. Or if they do attack into the Hamster, Raikou gets to clear off any back row defenses you have. Then you get to summon the Valley and banish the Raikou, and you still have an 1800 defense Hamster sitting there, which is not a bad play either. He also runs the Brain and the Mind control so that he can convert off of the Valleys should he need to.
And I'll definitely say the Mind control was definitely the winning point in finals with Randy Wynn against Joey. I'm pretty sure you can take perspective on what happened in the end on that one.
In the finals, yes. He. I remember it was like a Trooper was mind controlled and then milled like insane. On game 2, I think it was. I thought it
was Raikou in the final game, right? Was it Raikou that he?
Raikou in the final game, yeah. But in game 2, a Trooper was taken and milled Necro, Plague Spreader, and a Vayu.
Oh, jeez.
So, it was kind of a interesting back and forth. It definitely, Card Trooper was an MVP in that matchup, but it's definitely, sometimes that happens, man. Sometimes you just have it, right. And that's why we play some of these decks, because we maximize the amount of chances to have it. So,
right. Absolutely. Okay, so some other ones that we should talk about on here. Let's talk about needle sealing. We're starting to see a lot of needle sealing meta going on right now. What's going on with that?
I mean, it's just simply Torrential Tribute 2, 3, and 4. I mean, that's the easiest way to put it. In this deck, whose monsters are not very commonly face up on the field until he does choose to go off. If his opponent sees him mill his Mirror and his Torrential, they may be more aggressive with their push, and that needle sealing can punish that down without blowing up his face down, so that he can still gain the advantage from those.
So, what is the equivalent of needle sealing in Modern? Would that be what's that Modern Meteor card? I always forget what that card is.
It would be Nibiru.
Yeah, Nibiru.
Yeah, it would it would be it's, and I believe he actually kind of shed light on that as well, basically saying that it was like once they saw it, it was like they always played around it.
Right.
And if he would ever mill the card, every set card has to now be another needle sealing. So now they don't ever want to commit too much to the board and get needle sealing. So it kind of does. It's like the Nibiru effect. So
Right.
it's definitely a great card. Honestly, in Edison, it chains pretty well to make Dupfrog's mistiming as well. So that's another thing that it has a lot of power in.
Right. Cool. Brad is asking, is IG on the Tago. So you said Necrogard, or he said Card Trooper was being Minecon. So you're saying that Randy Minecon Joey's Card Trooper?
It might not have been Minecon. It might have been Brain Control.
And so the Val Turbo player milled from Card Trooper for a crazy mill in round 2 or game 2.
I believe it was in game 2. Yes,
Okay.
I spectated a lot of matches. I do know a Card Trooper did mill in that final round. It did mill Necro, Plague, and Vayu.
Gotcha. Cool. Anything you want to say for the tournament overall?
No, it was a great event. I definitely think Joey Lynch played his ass off and played out of his mind and made some bluff plays that paid off for him and made some decisions that paid off for him that really won him for the day. So
Right. Well, congrats to Joey Lynch, and we just want to say for anyone that participated in the tournament, we appreciate that you guys came out, and for anyone that spectated the live stream on Asian with Cards, we do appreciate you guys for showing up and hanging out and watching the channel on live. We have some things to work on for the live stream to improve it, and I'm excited for the next one. And I just want to say, Jay, thank you very much for taking care of the live stream for me.
yeah, absolutely.
Jay, is there anything you want to say for Underground Games?
Yeah, shout out to Underground Games, guys. Underground Games has its own website where you can buy singles, sealed product, sleeves, everything like that. They do Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, One Piece, Dragon Ball. They pretty much do every assortment of card games that exists out right now. And they have a TCG player page if you want to shop from them, undergroundgames.com. We are going to be hosting another one of these events. So please pay attention to the event post and to the Underground Games page. If you haven't liked it already, go ahead and like it, because that's where we'll be posting the next event details. I can already leak a little bit of preview that we are already working on the mat design, and from what everybody was saying on the mat designs for this time around, I think you guys are going to be even more impressed by the next ones.
Absolutely. Well, just want to say thank you very much to Underground Games, and again, thank you, Jay, for showing up on here for the live stream for the top 8 deck list. So thank you guys for showing up, and we will see you guys in the next video.
Later.